And I should be joined on the line now by Sage Francis. Hi, how are
you?
It's great to have you on the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing real good.
Where are you calling?
I'm calling from my house, Rhode Island.
Oh, not on the road right now. That's good. Excellent.
Yeah, I had a few days to kind of gather myself and get ready for this next jaunt.
The Going Through Hell tour, eh?
Yep, 88 shows in 2015.
Has it been hell or tolerable?
It's been a bit of both. There's definitely been hellish moments. There's been incredibly long drives, and the hellish moments sometimes is just dealing with certain types of people who don't know when to stop talking, but
like radio hosts, they're the worst.
At least radio, you have to take breaks and stuff. So.
A little bit. What are some of the high moments of the tour so far?
Some of these shows have been in places I've never been to before, and that's always exciting for me. They're meeting fans who, are appreciative of the music that I make. That's always beautiful. I don't know. It's been I've been on the road and nonstop because I don't know what else to do at this moment. I just was like, all right, keep going, man. Because last year was the tour for the Copper Dawn album.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to stop after that world tour, which was crazy in itself. That was about 75 shows, and I really didn't want to go back to starting all over again, so I just decided to stay on the road.
Why not, right? Now, I hear from bands all the time. You think an artist like yourself who's getting to travel the world, you're getting to see all these amazing places, but what I commonly hear from bands is that you're doing your sound check, you're in the van traveling to the next city. You actually rarely get to see the cities that you're traveling to. You get to see the venues, your mode of transportation, and your hotel bed. Has that been your experience, or are you actually getting to see some of these cities throughout the world?
It's totally true that what you mainly see is hotel rooms, venues, and your means of transportation. And especially for me, because I'm doing this tour entirely by myself. I drive myself. I work the merch booth. There's not much free time for me. In fact, by the time I get back to the hotel room after the show, I just pretty much fall on my face.
Yeah.
But I've tried to make an effort when I can to spend a few extra days in certain territories just to, experience this new place. It's not easy to do that, especially if you have a bunch of shows. But I've been doing pretty well with that, better than I have in the past.
Good. Now, this is a campus community radio station, and we have our annual funding drive coming up where we're going to be talking about what's so great about this format. So I wanted you to talk about your experience with campus community radio.
Right. Well, my radio show was from 97 until 2000. And back then, that was just the main spot where people would be able to hear music that they couldn't get anywhere else. Even the Internet. I mean, the Internet was just in its early stages at that point. And it's not like you could just search any song you wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. Nowadays it is. But, yeah, we did our fundraisers, and I found that winning a loyal fan base and then playing the music they hated was the perfect way to raise money.
I'll keep that in mind for the next couple of weeks.
Because I would play the worst of the worst stuff and say, if you don't donate money, you're not going to hear all the good stuff I have sitting on deck.
Yeah, I've done that before. So now, your music is often very personal and something that is less common in rap music than in some other genres. How has that affected your ability to find your place in the genre?
It's made it pretty difficult to find an actual place within the genre. I don't know. It's not like I've been welcomed with open arms. I'm not. When I want to play the game and rap about rap stuff, I can, do it with the best of them, but I'm not that's not my place. So I feel like maybe I've earned my place by being the outlier.
Mm-hmm. Now, is it true you used to sneak out of your house when you were 12 to take part in rap battles?
Yeah. I live kind of in the middle of nowhere. I'm not in an urban environment, so I had to get friends who had cars to take me to certain parts of the state where there was battles happening. And one time I was abandoned there because it was kind of a rowdy spot, and the kid who drove me got scared and left. So that was at 2 a.m. I had to call my dad to pick me up, and that was an event.
Did you get the riot act?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, we just talked about the very personal nature of your music, but, rap battles tend to be aggressive. You don't think of it as something it's basically the opposite of what I just said about your music. So I'm kind of curious as to what role did rap battles play in how you grew as an MC?
Well, I'm competitive by nature, and early on, what drew me to hip-hop was the braggadocio and tough guy stuff. And the battles were a fun way of just going at people, and I don't know, that was fun for me. It's not anymore, but it was a time, place where that made sense for me in my life. So I just kind of excelled at it once I got my feet wet, and I took it all the way to the top. And then once I had won the Scribble Jam battle, which at the time was pretty much the main thing everyone was trying to win, I was already moving away from all that. That was kind of pretty late in my so-called battle. But I had fun with it because it didn't have to be mean, and it didn't have to be overly aggressive, and you didn't have to take it too serious. In fact, if you knew how to go in with a good sense of humor about yourself, then you pretty much, had a leg up on competition.
Do you ever have a desire to just show up at a rap battle and just take somebody down?
Yeah, I mean, people just are so full of fire and hate and angst, and I am too, but not when it comes to creative stuff. Like, the way I see them doing it now, it's obviously a whole different game. It's a whole other beast. It's not even, I don't know if they're even relatives.
It's a fair point. I mean, they can be fairly aggressive, the king of the dot or whatever. So,
yeah. Well, it's an actor's play. The thing is a straight up poetry slam on steroids.
It's a good way to put it. Poetry slam on steroids. Now, you've worked with a Canadian, Buck 65, many times over the years. How did you come to meet and collaborate?
I came across a tape of his in '98. The Vertex tape, and I just fell in love with it. I really was a huge fan, and I was able to get in contact with him. And in '99, I flew out to Halifax, which is where he was staying at the time, and worked with him too. And we just stayed in touch after all that time, and we did many tours together. We did a lot of songs together. We just stayed in touch through the years.
Other than Buck, who do you think of when you think of Canadian rappers?
Oh, gosh.
Am I putting you on the spot?
I mean, Drake, I guess.
I was waiting for that, so, yeah. Now, you founded your own independent record label called Strange Famous Records, and that strikes me as a lot of work and something that could take time away from actually creating music. So how often is that an issue for you?
Very often. In fact, that was a huge problem for me for many years. When I decided to hunker down and do the Copper Gone album, that was when I started to take some significant steps away from the day-to-day function of Strange Famous Records. And it was the first official studio album that I released on Strange Famous Records, so that doesn't mean my workload decreased, but there was a lot of risk involved and a lot of a gamble, and thankfully it all worked out. But it wouldn't have worked out without all the years of me putting in the time and care to the label to make sure that we could sustain a release of that magnitude.
Now, you released several albums on Epitaph Records, and I believe you were the first rapper signed to the label, which was best known for its punk acts. Do you ever kind of wish you could go back to, that kind of environment where other people are doing all that behind-the-scenes work for you?
Yeah, except I was handling a bulk of the duties.
Really?
That's how I knew I could release my own record. With the first album, they were more on board. A Healthy Distrust came out 10 years ago. That was the first record I did with Epitaph, and they were all in for that. But after the cherry was popped, they kind of took a step back and were like, "Okay, we've had our way with the indie rap stuff. Let's go back to the mall punk scene."
Now, over the years, you've collaborated with rock artists like Bad Religion, Caliphone, Will Oldham, a whole bunch of people. What drew you to these collaborations?
Sometimes they just were random opportunities, or we'd be in the same place at the same time, or I'd know someone who knew them, and it would be talked about, and then we just banged it out. It's with, with Bad Religion, I had just signed to Epitaph, and they were excited about rap stuff, and they were like, "Hey, let's do a song." Yeah. So I was out in California at the time. They were recording. In fact, I even did a song with Rancid while they were doing an album back then.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that one.
No, it was never released. I think they put it in a vault, and it'll never be heard.
Why not? Do you know the combination of that vault? I would like to hear this.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was a little too. It was too not tough guy rap.
Ah, there you go. Now, on your latest album, Copper Gone, one of the tracks, ID Thieves, is co-produced by James Hancock, who is right here from Ottawa. How did you hook up with him?
I first heard of him through our remix contest that we would throw at Strange Famous Records. So he would always submit a remix and catch my ear. And that's also how I came across a few of the other artists, producers who are on the record. Because if I see that they have an ear for beats, or they know how to put together a good piece, I stay in touch with them, and we try to come up with original music. So he's sent me a heap of material through the years, and finally we got to make one official for the album.
That's excellent. So how does that work then when you're making a song? How much of it is you making the music, or how much of it is using external producers?
Almost all of it is starting with external producers. I have a big collection, a big back catalog of beats people have sent me through the years, and I always go through it. I always listen to it and try to see what is matching my mood at the time, or any writings that I've come up with that may fit it. And that's how it starts. And then after that, sometimes we'll remake the thing completely in the studio, or just develop upon it and build upon it. But it all starts with people sending me beats, and if something moves me in a particular way, I save it. And I tell them, I give fair warning. I say, this might not come out for 10 years, so just be patient with me. But, if you use it for anything else, just give me the heads up.
So is that an open invitation then for people to send you beats?
Absolutely, yeah.
So how do they do so?
You think would interest me, or you have some really great material, I'm always open. It's not just for me either. I mean, I run a record label. MCs are always interested in hearing new stuff. So
how do they send you the stuff?
They can send it to strangefamous@gmail.com.
There you go. Strangefamous@gmail.com.
Which is the catch-all for stuff like this. Excellent. I don't check it regularly, but yeah.
So unlike many rap albums, yours don't tend to feature many guest rappers. Why is that?
I'm selfish. I'm a mic hog. I don't know. I've never featured a rapper on my records. There's never been a cameo rapper on any of my albums, the studio albums.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm about 7 or 8 deep now. I've never, because when I write songs, it's I write the song. There's no one. I don't have anyone else in mind for a song.
There isn't that marketing lens put onto it, which I think is how sometimes these collaborations come to be, if you ask me. So,
yeah, I know people, want to feature other rappers, and then people are like, "Oh, I like this rapper. Maybe I should check this guy out." Like, I feel like that's just not for me. I feel like I have too unique of a style, and the way I approach my albums is too
too sage.
It's too personal. It's just like if someone jumps on a song of mine, even if it's not a personal song, I save that for the mixtapes. I'll probably feature rappers on other stuff, and I want to do a record with E. Dolan. We'll probably do a full album together. But yeah, when I go into my solo albums, it's just for me.
And that makes sense. Why do you often hug fans after a show?
It feels good. It's kind of, I'm so exhausted usually by the end of the show that if I step right into the crowd and I get to rest my weight on people, it's good for my legs.
Now, you regularly post photos fans send you, of tattoos that are inspired by you and your lyrics. So how did you react when you first started getting these photos, and how do you feel about them now?
I remember the first one I saw really blew my mind. I had never expected anyone to tattoo anything of mine on their body. But after that, it was like I just became a fan of it. I'm like, wow, that's. It doesn't feel like it's from or about me. It's really just a shared sentiment, and I know that they're quoting me or my lyrics or something related to me, but it doesn't feel like it's a tribute to me.
Mm-hmm. Now, we talked about how personal your songs can be, and I'm curious as to how often a fan will come up to you at a show and say, "Hey, man, are you okay?"
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely more often, more recently than in the past, but yeah. No, I feel more comfortable saying that on email, I think.
No, that's fair enough. So your show is on Saturday, October 24th at Ritual Nightclub here in Ottawa. We were talking off air. Do we know who's on the bill with you? You've been touring with several different people, or?
Yeah, well, when I was touring through Western Canada, it was Transit and Stage. And on the East Coast tour, on the Ontario shows, I think Transit. I'm not totally sure though. I really don't know.
Okay. People can come out and see, and Rich you'll be right there with the crowd, so it'll be easy for hugs right afterwards. So
yeah, man. Good. I need that.
I've been doing this show for 18 years, and I have no idea why I haven't had you on before. It was a real pleasure. So thank you very much for joining me, and have an excellent show on the 24th.
Thank you so much, brother.
All right, take care. All right, so we're going to hear something from Sage Francis, that track he does with Ottawa producer James Hancock. Here's a tune called ID Thieves on CKCU.